This guy's Joshua Farmer, defensive tackle from Florida State. Late day 2 guy or early day 3 guy is what he's projected to be at. And the Chiefs have already met with him. So that's why I wanted to go with Joshua Farmer. And on top of that, just doing, the nerdy research that we do here, Chiefs love Florida State defensive linemen. We had Mike Pinnell on last week who talked about one of the defensive linemen who's went to Florida State, and that was Fabian Lovett, who will actually end up being a guest on the show in a few weeks. So guys, be ready for that. So Fabian Lovett, FSU, Derek Nottie, Florida State, Joshua Kane-Doe, defensive lineman, Florida State, and then the guy we just signed a couple weeks ago, Janarius Robinson, Florida State. So they like Florida State defensive linemen. I don't know what it is, but they love FSU D linemen. So that definitely plays a factor in this. Also, we've already met with him, so there's interest there. So a little bit of background about Florida State's Joshua Farmer. He projects as a potential 3-down threat at the NFL level. He illustrates flashes of penetration ability thanks to his build-up strength and ability to time up the snap. That paired with elite length and upper body power to attack blockers, giving Farmer the potential to have a little something for everyone. His length is surreal. This is the one thing everyone's talking about, his length. He boasts a 35-inch arm length. It shows some high-level flashes of using length as a run defender and a pass rusher. That plus his hand power and stun punches and when snatching or pushing blockers off their center of gravity gives him a foundation to build his entire skill set around. It's just a kind of background on him at his time at FSU. 2023 became a full-time starter at FSU, starting every game and being named the team's most improved defensive player. And he was also named second team All-ACC in 2023. And then this 2024, he started all 12 games and was honorable mention All-ACC. Positives about him, obviously the arm length, powerful playing through edges of pass sets to uncover into gaps, illustrates good strength in hands to manipulate posture and frame of opposing offensive linemen. And then his negatives, not overly twitchy pass rusher through the contact window, steady build-up speed working to hip to hip, is only modestly fluid and flexible through his core to redirect or turn corners tightly, can struggle with consistency of pad level, both out of his stance and when stacking blocks. But this is a guy we've already met with. This is a guy that, talk about the FSU love that we have and the length. And they say just based off his length and his kind of agility for his size, he may go higher than we think, based on what a lot of the experts are saying. So we say late day 2, maybe early day 3. He could be early day 2 guy. Just the teams love his potential, that what he can be. So Joshua Farmer, defensive tackle. What do you guys think about Joshua Farmer?
Not one of my favorites. I think he's just okay at defensive tackle. When he comes into the league, it's a big boy league. And so some of the things I've seen him struggle at on film appear it's going to be a even bigger problem. And so you're looking for explosion, especially on the defensive line, and we need somebody to dominate. Some of the things I've seen him, he wasn't necessarily dominating like I wanted to see a defensive lineman. I think he's a good rotational piece as far as what he can play. But as far as like the explosion with his hands and ripping and getting off and getting in the tackle and actually playing in the backfield, I want to see defensive tackles playing in the backfield. I didn't really see a whole lot of that from him, just doing it. So I get potential-wise what he may have. But, there was one thing, potential and is like credit. Coach Mill said it the best. He said, man, if you want credit, go to the bank. I ain't going to give you any. You got to show me. I need to see it. So if I'm not seeing it on film and I'm not seeing it at Florida State doing it consistently, I'm going to have a little pause at it. But, he's a big dude. I like his length too. 3 technique. Shoot, you need some monsters, especially at their position. You do. Other guy that you're going to have in there I like, but Joshua Farmer is a guy to me, I think he's just okay. I think he's okay defensive tackle. My thing is, I know you're talking about Florida State guys and whatnot. I don't know. Florida State, man, we kind of been up and down with that school as far as like.
Why? I mean, JD, just based on that aspect alone, because it does seem like we do have an affinity for that's a lot of defensive linemen I've just named from Florida State. Why do you think they're such big fans of Florida State guys? If you just had to kind of had to
I don't
make a
know.
guess.
I have no idea. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. Maybe the scout is just there more than anywhere else. He just has great rapport with those guys. And just talking to them, kind of getting them off. So I'm not quite sure. But Florida State always has talented guys. We know that. And it's just like any other place. Some paying off, some don't. But, yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah. When I saw Farmer, I was like, wait, that's FSU. I was like, oh, my gosh. That's like the millionth dude we've had from Florida State. So, yeah. Teja, what are your
Yeah, I have a lot of notes on Farmer. 3 tech can play some 5 tech. He's got really long arms, like you said. Interesting background about him. He lost both his parents at age 11. Was raised by his grandma, so he's got a good story of perseverance, too, on top of it all. Was 250 when he got to FSU. He's gained 60 pounds over the years. So one thing I kept hearing about him is he still hasn't gotten used to like being a big boy yet. Like he's still freshly big boy. So he's just a big ball of clay who's just slowly forming every game he plays football like that. He's getting used to his body as he's in him. He's massive. He's a big dude. And he's still spent most of his life at 250. So he's not really totally there yet and caught up to his size. So anyone that drafts him, you're going to have to work with him a little more to kind of bring him along and get him used to playing at that size and what he can do. He does play through contact really well. He's got a really well-proportioned body. He's not like midsection heavy and then like with small legs. He's well-proportioned overall. Another big thing that people love about him is that he was a premier player and on a pretty bad FSU line. And he was being game planned against week after week as the guy to like stop on that line and still had a pretty good season, which is impressive because, a lot of the guys we talk about, they have pretty good running mates. If you notice that. The Harmons, the Nolans, the A&M's got 3 top 3 round players. A lot of them have multiple running mates, 2 to 3 of them on their. Tyleik Williams got 2. A lot of them have multiple running mates. FSU had a bad D line. He was it. So you double him, you get on top of him, you ran all over them. So to have a good season despite that, it's pretty impressive. But he is a little more of a project at D tackle. So I think he might last. I think he might last into that late third we have, or maybe even that fourth.
So that word right there, project. I don't know if that's a good thing. When you look at weaknesses, below average first step quickness, you can see that consistently beaten to the spot by lateral blockers. You definitely see that. Unable to maintain gap integrity when engaging in zone blocks. That's a huge problem. Lethargic to shed and tackle in his gaps. Lacks foot quickness to beat protection on the edges. That, I don't know if you want to take something like that on. You want guys NFL ready. My nephew's on here. I'm not going to say any names, but there's a time I remember we took kind of a project in a draft and didn't pan out. It was like, man, it was all potential. Had a body type that everybody was covered in there. Everybody looked like, daggone, this sucker's going to be, a monster just based off what he looks like and, his body type. Shoot, sucker was out of the league, I think, in like 2 years. So I look at things as far as if you struggle in college on some of the things that you should already know how to do, okay, it would, at least for me, it would be tough for me to stand on the table for a guy like this. It would be. Unless I'm sitting there saying, Coach, you got to hold his hand the entire way. We think he's going to be great, but he had to be a day 3 guy. I couldn't even imagine getting a day 2 dude and thinking this is going to be the dude that you have to work with, project-wise. You know what I mean?
I think late third is the highest, and I think early fourth would be his sweet spot. If we can get him in our 4th round, I'd be pretty happy with that. I get pretty happy with that. I mean, he's not a complete. He's more of a project than some of the guys that Marcus set in those rounds going, right? He's only 2 years into being a massive human. So like he's gonna have to get used to that. He needs a little more time. And again, like he struggled with some of those things, but would he have struggled with those things if he had Tyreek Williams next to him? Would he have struggled with those things if he had Walter Nolan next to him and he's not the focal point of a defense? He got pinpointed on every team he played against. So like,
well, he was getting beat one-on-one. I mean, he wasn't even getting double team. I'm talking about just one-on-one. It wasn't an explosion, him coming off. That's what I'm talking about. And
yeah, but offenses were game planning him, if anybody. There was no one else to play on that defense. They didn't have anything
one-on-one. I mean, shoot, hey man, line up, kick his tail. There's your game plan. Hey man, can you hold up? And that's what they did. So, like I said, it wasn't like he was getting double teamed like Chris Jones. He wasn't. The thing is, sometimes other guys on the line look great, maybe looking better because you do have. I get like a guy that's there. Well, shoot, maybe he should have been the guy that was supposed to make everybody else around him better. Shoot, if you're supposed to be the dude, be the guy to make everybody else better. How about that? So that has nothing to do with quick first step quickness and explosion, shedding it off blocks. None of that has to do with like just game planning. That's ability. That's what that is. So that's what I'm talking about as far as like, like that, like a project. And I get that. I get like the potential of it, and shoot, sometimes we get.
He does have good explosion and hand punching though. Those are his pluses. He just doesn't have the finesse. He doesn't have the repertoire. He doesn't have the moves. He doesn't have counters. He does get walked back and overpowered. If his first initial explosion doesn't work, then he's in trouble. He's in deep shit at that point. That's the problem with him. He's got to learn that stuff. That's the project in him, I think. To start, I'm not starting this guy in a 3-down role next to Jones by any means. I mean, he's rotational. He's just, I think that's what he is, at least to start. But could he be a guy in like 3 or 4 years from now? Like people are like, where did he go? What round did the Chiefs get him in? 4th round? Like how the hell did that happen? So I can also see that coming for him.
G-Pick said Tootin had 2 less reps than him on bench press.
I mean, had 2 less reps than a lot of D tackles at bench press. I mean, I wouldn't. Yeah,
and offensive tackles too.
Yeah, that is true.
He got long arms though. I'll give him a little bit of a break on that. He got long arms.
No, sir. He's strong. You're strong. Period.
I will say, where he's slated to go, he could go. Late day 2 or day 3 guy. He also could be, we have talked about double dip. He could be a double dip kind of guy. If we do draft an early D tackle and he is available later on, there was interest. We did meet with him. He could be a second D tackle we draft. So, yeah.
I mean, he was 5th overall at bench press for D tackles. I mean, that's not that bad. I'm not gonna give him a hard time. He had 3 less than the top guy. He had 26. The top guy at 29, Jordan Phillips, who was a weightlifting champion in college. So I mean, like, I excuse that's fine with me. He had more than Mason Graham, who's going top 5. He had more than Kenneth Grant, who's supposed to be the best run stuffer in this draft.
I got you. Sure.
Kenneth Grant only had 22 reps. And he's probably going in the first round.
I had 29. They took 3 away from me.
Damn. Yeah. Well, I think this is more of a kind of indictment on the state of a lot of these guys.
I agree. I absolutely agree. No question about it. That's why I'm sitting there saying, man, if this joke is doing this, get stronger. When I'm watching defensive tackles, I'm like, man, you're going to get bench press. And that's part of why that step might have been as quick, because you get stifled at get past this.
Hey, well, there's a reason why Tootin breaks 40% of his friggin' tackles.
That's right.
That's
why I love it. That's why I love it.
By the way, is he swallowing up Rashard Smith in that picture, Marcus? Is that SMU?
That might be their quarter. That's their quarterback.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was gonna laugh at that for a second.
No gloves on. Yeah, that's not Rashard.
Okay. DeMonte Green Bean says Chris needs. Yes, he does. He needs some help, and he needs some help right now.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with
Chris.
Christine
I'm
Hill.
harder on Norman Lott, though, a guy who's had like 60 run defense reps in his college career. Like, I mean, that's why I'm rough on guys like that, because I just can't see guys like that staying on the field for 3 downs. And I want that for Chris, right? It's either get a guy who can play 3 downs next to Chris, or we're going to have to draft 2 different guys, one good at run, one good at pass in the first 5 rounds. That's it. Like, those are the 2 options, right?
You said, well, I mean, the thing is, I want a guy that's ready to go.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, if I'm sitting over here, I can't wait on a project for a guy to be like, shoot, you need to come out and explode right now. So
I'm with you.
Jeremy Goat, I was in the joint with a boy that would do 225 for 4 sets of 25. Super strong. That's pretty strong. I love to see his measurements.
He said, how many reps?
He would do 225, 4 sets of 25. So he was doing 25 reps of 225. That's like prime Arnold Schwarzenegger numbers there.
He said, I was in a joint with a boy that would do 225 for 4 sets of 25 super strong. Yeah, Jeremy, this ain't official. This sucker doing. Is that what, Jeremy? We talking about, no shade to him, but I'm talking about like locking out. That's, NFL locking out. It makes sure them jokers make sure this sucker's locked out right here. And they will not count it. My first 3 days, nope. I was like talking about, like, what are you talking? Oh, he's a lockout, and I thought I locked mine all the way out. I knew I was, because I would do 34 and 32 every time.
In case you not bounce off the chest either.
No, you can't. I mean, you can't really bounce. No. Touch, come on up.
Mm-hmm.
Break your breastplate.
Yeah, big time.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.